I forgot to put a title on this thing. I was really sinking into this song. Do you guys remember Kid and Play? That song, Ola Ola A? I don't know what the real name is, but it's stuck in my head. So I was like, I posted that I was going live, and then I just took a minute or two to like really get deep into that song, which is nothing. Anyway, it's Monday, and it's actually a wonderful Monday for me. It's a beautiful day. And I had a 4-day weekend. And so I am living mindfully, which means that basically I read into everything that happens like way more than I need to. No, just kidding. That's not what it means. It just means that I'm paying attention. I am woke, as they say, and I listen to my surroundings, and I look at everything going on around me, and I look at how other people react to their surroundings, and I just let things flow. I figure out what the heck is going on in the world, as opposed to just being reactive and defensive and trying to make sure that my point is made and make sure that my point of view is understood, that I'm seen and understood and all this stuff. Instead of that, I seek to understand, and I'm taking a good look around me. So 4 days off from work has shown me that I am a really relaxed, chillpreneur, non-stressed, low-stress person. When I let my life flow, somebody's texting me. When I let my life flow, it's not stressful. It's just easy. Easy is my 2019 word of the year, by the way. So, or ease is anyway. In January, I picked that word, and I had no idea how it was really going to impact my life. So Michelle Rohr, who runs the Secret Owl Society and who is just an awesome human being in general, she is like a guide. I'm listening to StoryBrand, so I'm going to give some StoryBrand words for what she is. She is our guide in our transformation. And it's intentional, like she does it on purpose, but I don't know how much she actually understands that she does for the ladies in the group. So I am benefiting from the transformation that I'm creating in my life based on her guidance. And she's like a decade younger than me. It's crazy. I'm like, what? If I was this wise at 30 years old, can you imagine what I would have done with my life? Anyway, I don't even want to imagine, because it's just all like looking in the wrong direction. So here's the deal. After 4 days off from work, I realized that I don't give two little brown foxes about office politics. I just don't care. After 4 days off from work, I realized that I love talking to people. I love being around people and talking to them, which is kind of a strange thing to realize after you've not been around people. But the idea, I think, behind this feeling is that I can be around the people I want to be around and talk and investigate. So we went to a party on Friday night, and one of my co-workers invited me to her home to meet her family, her children, her children's friends. It was amazing, like I knew it would be. And it was nice. I didn't talk at all about myself that much. You know, it wasn't like about me. Like, I was seeking to understand who her kids were and what they were doing with their lives. And it was so fulfilling and satisfying. And I realized that, you know, when I work a lot, the job that I have, the role that I play is the one that people come to have their problems solved. And if I had any advice for a young person who's just starting out their career, or someone who's in high school trying to figure out what their life's purpose is, I would say be very careful about having a career where you are a problem solver. It's okay to be a problem solver, but to be the person that people come to have their problem solved, and that's your career, can be very, very draining. And I've done it for like 12 years, and after a while, and it's actually in the very beginning, in the first year, it was draining, and you felt like if you don't recharge your battery oft enough, as I had not, I was a workaholic, you end up feeling like you don't like people. Like people are draining you, because all the people that you see are people who are coming to you with their problems, medical problems, social problems, all kinds of problems, financial problems. Like, they just come to you to get you to solve it, and that's not a good place to be in, especially if some of their problems are things that they've done, they've caused themselves to have problems, and they keep doing it. Like, it's okay to make a mistake and then to seek help and change after that. But if you continually do the same thing over and over again, and you continually cause yourself problems, the person you're taking your problems to be solved is extremely frustrated because they can't help you. But you're seeking to be helped, and 9 times out of 10, the person who's helping you is someone who's helping you because they have a heart for helping. And it's tough, especially if you're empathic or if you're a people pleaser. It's tough, if not impossible, to have a job where you are solving other people's problems. Anyway, so over time, I started to feel like maybe I don't like people. Like, maybe I'm an introvert and I need to stay in. And what I've learned is that I love people. I just don't like people unloading on me, like bringing me, a plate of trouble and then leaving it with me and then walking away, and then I have trouble. Like, that stresses me out. And so for 4 days, I got to be not that person. I got to be my own boss, because I did and look, I was off, but I was working. But my work is like play. My work is exactly what I was hoping that it would be all this time. When I first had the inkling that you could actually do some work that makes you feel happy, like pleasure can be profitable. And even if I ever said that to people, it was like, no, it can't. Like, work is work. You're not supposed to like it. You're supposed to do it and get paid, and in your free time you do whatever feels good. And that never sat well with me. That never resonated with me. It was always like, are you sure? Because I think there should be a way that you can do something that you love and be paid for it. And thank God I found other people who actually also feel this is true and who are doing this themselves in their life and showing me how to do it. So I'm happy. I'm blessed. I'm satisfied. I'm blissed out, all that. So what I wanted to say, and by the way, I have been tuned in for 4 days. I don't even know what I did 4 days ago to make this happen, but I have been in the receiving mode for 4 days. I have been so creative, and yes, I have been meditating, I have been exercising, but I've been so creative. I've not been sleeping. I haven't been tired. I've just been in this mode of just creating and documenting and all this stuff, and it's just been amazing. So I woke up this morning again, also in a receiving mode, just feeling so enlightened, feeling so free, easy. Everything's been great. Despite the surroundings, that has nothing to do with environment, has nothing to do with circumstance or situation. It's all coming from me. It's my choice. No matter what's going on, I can choose to be happy. And I am a little bit regretful that I did not learn that before I was 40 years old. But that's okay. I know it now. Okay, so what I'm actually coming on to talk about today is something that happened like 2 or 3 days ago with my child, with my daughter, who is the one who teaches me the most lessons. Okay, so I was in the shower, right? I think I was even washing my hair. Like, I was really in the shower. And Gracie came in to complain very loudly, also known as screaming, about the fact that Jude would not share his toy with her. So the day before we had gone out, and occasionally I'll get them things, toys from the store if I think it's something nice that I like to play with it too. And they had each gotten some really cool toys to play with. And Grace in the store loved this toy. She loved it. And when we first got it home and everything, she loved it. She was playing with it. It was cool. I put it together. It was awesome. I loved it. She promised in the store that she would let Jude play with it too. So she was letting Jude play with it too. And Jude had something else that Grace was totally not interested in at all initially, until Jude started playing with it the next day. And then she comes in to pull me out of the shower to tell me how unfair it was that Jude wasn't sharing. And she wanted his toy. And she was crying hysterically, and I had to calm her down. And I was like, what about your toy? What about the camper that you got? Do you not want to play with that anymore? And she said, no, I don't like it anymore, right? I want what he has. I don't like this anymore. And I was like, what? It's been a day. It was like one day. And so I was like, okay. And our house is cluttered with toys. Like, I went to try to declutter all the toys and see what I could take away that they don't play with anymore, that I could give away, take away. I couldn't even find anything, because everything they have, they play with, and they're all good toys. So I was like, oh my gosh, we just went through all the toy box, and there's so many cool toys in there. And I said, which one is your favorite? And she goes, none of them. Of course, she was just acted out of being upset, but she said none of them. And I was like, none of your toys is your favorite? She's like, I don't like any of them. And at this point, she's calm and she's just being Grace, but she was like, I don't want any of them. I don't like any of them. And I was just standing there soapy and wet and angry. I felt angry, but like I said, I'm living mindfully, and I was in the receiving mode the whole weekend. So I was looking at the situation a totally different way. I didn't take it for surface value. I was looking at the situation like, I'm in charge of this little person. I'm in charge of her world. I can bring things into her world. I can take things out of her world. I'm in charge of how much she gets and how much she doesn't get. And I'm listening to her tell me that she doesn't like anything she's gotten. Nothing. Nothing is her favorite. She can't find any single exciting thing about anything that I've given her. And that was that. And my thought was, I don't ever want to give you anything ever again. I don't ever want to get you anything ever again. Why am I going to waste my time and my money to get you something to delight you when you are not delighted by it, and in fact you're just throw it all out. I don't even want it. And so, as I said, living mindfully, I'm reading things into everything. My thought is, this must be what God feels like. But I know that God doesn't have negative emotion. God doesn't have negative emotion. He only thinks of love and love and love and love. But I'm wondering if when we are, because my son is the opposite. My son is literally for the last 4 days walking around singing a song about a balloon. We've been potty training, and so for a reward I give him a balloon. This time I put a little water in the balloon. It's not a water balloon, so it's not popping. It's like a regular balloon, a thick latex balloon, but it has water in it, so when he shakes it, it shimmies and all that stuff. It's got water in it. And he's been walking around holding his balloon, shaking it and singing, I love my balloon, I just love my balloon. Like, he's making up songs all day, every day about his balloon. And then when he has his toys, he's saying he loves that, and he loves his Marshall stuffed animal, and he's delighted in everything. He's singing constantly. And the contrast between the two of them is such that I can see why, if you're putting out positive energy to the universe and you're saying, I love this job, I love this house, I love this, whatever it is, this car, why the universe would be like, I'm going to give you more of that. I'm going to give you more of the excitement that you're feeling. I'm going to give you more things to love. I'm going to give you more and more and more, because it just thrills me to see you so delighted. And that's the way I felt about my son. He was so excited that I wanted to like find something else to excite him. My daughter, on the other hand, I was like, you could have the world. If you just appreciate one thing, I'll give you 3 more. You know, I felt like that was scripture. I was like, if you appreciate one thing, I'll give you 3 more. Thus said the Lord. You know, like in her life, that's what I am. Like, I am the provider in her life. And so if she was happy with everything, I'd be so happy to give her more. And so it made me think back. And it's funny because I was standing there, soapy, in the bathroom with her. And it was probably just for like 30 seconds. But all this stuff flashed into my mind. And I was thinking about when we were looking for the house that we live in now. We lived in this house just a little bit across town that was probably twice as big, if not like 1.5 times as big. Twice as big, 2 times. It was bigger than the house that we live in now. I wanted to downsize. But I loved that house. I loved that house to the point where I would sit in that house, look up at the ceiling, and think, it is a sin how much I love this house. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was way too big for anything that I need. I do not need a house that big. I'll post a picture of it. We sold it. We recently sold it. But I remember sitting there. It was like you look up and it was like a cathedral, and the acoustics were awesome, and it was just a beautiful, beautiful home that I did not need. And I remember we had the twins, and my husband was going to go away to medical school, and my family lived across town, and I was not going to be able to do this all by myself across town. So immediately I was like, we got to move. You know, we really need to move. And there were some other issues going on with like that decision-making process, because now looking back on it, I mean, I think it was a great decision. It was a path that my life needed to take, but it probably wasn't the best decision to like be separated and all this stuff. But anyway, that's a whole other blog post. But I decided that we needed to move across town. I really wanted to downsize. And you know what the funny thing about that, now that I think about it, I had gone to a party at one of my friends' houses, and she had a small house. Actually, 2 of my friends. One lived in an apartment, and it was really cozy. The other one lived in a smaller house that was enough space for them. And I just felt like so calm there. Like, sometimes when you have a huge house that you don't need, there's a lot screaming out at you. There's a lot of rooms that you haven't stepped into in a month. That house had 1, 2, 3, 4. It had 4 bedrooms. It had 1, 2, 3, 4 bathrooms. Upstairs game room, dining room that we used as a library. It was huge, and we basically used 3 rooms. We used the kitchen, the living room, and the bedroom. That's it. It was just me for a while, and it was me and my husband for a while, and then we had the twins who lived in our room. So why do we have 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms? You know, like, that's the mindset that I used to have as far as excess. And it was that just in case mentality. They're like, just in case somebody needs to stay, just in case somebody needs to live here. Well, guess what? Everybody that I know has a place to live. So we would never feel, we were in a hot hotel, and we weren't running an Airbnb. Like, we didn't have company coming over that frequently. So we had filled these rooms with like beds and furniture and all this stuff that was just totally unnecessary. So when I would go to my friends' homes, one of my friends had 2 little boys. And she had, I wasn't all up in her stuff, but I think she had 2 bedrooms. And, her kids, there were 2 little boys. They shared a room, and her husband, and maybe she had an office, something like that. So they had maybe 2 or 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, the typical 3-2, And it was so comfortable. I felt like there were no rooms shouting out at her saying, hey, you haven't been in here. You haven't stepped inside, in a month. You haven't even stepped inside this room. Do you really need me? And that's the guilt that you feel when you have like lots and lots of extra space. Morning, Diana and Loki. So, we downsized, and it was funny because I had wanted to downsize after being around those friends who had those, smaller, comfy little homes. And so I went out, set about looking for a 1-story house, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, just enough space. That's it. And it was like, I loved this house that we lived in, but in the transition to going to get a new one, I threw all that love away, and it was kind of like, I'm focused on getting the new one. That's it. I want this new house. I want this new house. I want this new house. Instead of appreciating, and I did appreciate the other house. But I wonder if I could have handled that better. And I think, it went fine. There was no problem with it. I mean, things were really smooth. We got a renter in the house really quickly, and the renter was a good renter for like the whole time that we had it. Then he ended up buying it. So it's kind of like I didn't have to worry about like people abusing it or anything like that. But in standing here with my daughter, when she's telling me that she doesn't like any of her toys anymore, she wants something totally different. And the thing was, she wanted something that someone else had. She wanted what her brother had. She didn't want anything that she had. And I thought, oh my gosh, how many times have I done that? I asked God for something. I prayed for something like the new house. When I was praying for the house that we just sold, I wanted something someone else had. Then I was in that house, and I was in that house for like 5 or 6 years, or more, long time. But then I went to my friend's house, and she had a smaller house, and I thought, oh, this is so comfortable and cozy. This is just what we need. And then I started wanting a smaller house. I wanted something someone else had. And then when I got that, and so now we're in this house that is perfect for us right now. I looked for this house. I knew what I wanted. We found the perfect exact house, the perfect floor plan, everything that we wanted. And now next year, when my husband finishes school, we're going to have to move somehow. Like, we're not even sure like what was going to happen, which is fine. But I have this idea in my head of like, oh, this is what I want, I'm trying to be very careful to appreciate what I have while I still look forward to what I want and make sure it's a step in the right direction. I don't want to be like my kid was a few days ago when she was like, I don't like anything I have. I want what he has, and that's it. Because I do remember times in the past being that way, being very like, you throw all that away because you don't, that doesn't matter to you anymore. And it's like the provider of all of our needs, the universe who has provided what we've asked for is now looking like, how can I please you? How can I please you? I have given you everything. I've given you everything you've asked for. Not only that, I perform miracles in the sky all day, every day that you don't even notice. The grass is growing all around you. You don't even take your shoes off and walk around in the grass for 5 minutes a day, which actually will root you to the earth. It'll do something like spiritually to your body to connect you to the earth. So 5 minutes a day, take your shoes off, walk around in the grass. That's all it takes just to get you balanced again. And so I'm wondering how often I'm so ungrateful for, and I'm way better now, but just in the living of life, the forgetting of where everything comes from, the forgetting of providence, and just saying like, I want this, I want that, I want this. And then you get it. You don't say thank you. And then you see somebody else with something else and you're like, I want that. Throw this away. I want that. And that's what my daughter did. She was so happy in the store when she wanted me to buy that thing for her. She was like, please, please buy this for me. I love this. This is great. I want to play with it every day. I love it. And that's how we are when we're praying. We're like, Lord, please provide this. We really just want this. It's going to be great. And then we get it. And it's like for 5 minutes, it's the best thing on earth. And then after that, we see somebody else with something else. We're like, oh no, that's the car I want actually, you know. We didn't say thank you. We don't love the thing that we have while we hope for the thing that we don't have yet. That's what we do. But it was so funny because my daughter like brought that out. Like when she did that, I was like, oh my gosh, this is what it feels like. Like it's a horrible feeling, but I know God he doesn't feel horrible. Like he just keeps moving in the direction of love and peace and goodness and kindness. He doesn't look back and say, you ungrateful, you know, it's none of that. But I don't know, that really hit me hard. I was like, I need to make sure that I say thank you 7 times a day. So if I had any tips for anyone today, like mindfulness tips, because I'm learning a lot of like mindful stuff. I'm learning like a lot of money manifestation techniques and little quirky things I do throughout my day. And one of the mindfulness and quirky money manifestation tips that I have is to say thank you 7 times a day, at least. So say thank you for random things, like it's so overcast here, but if like the sun, you know, the sun is out in the clouds, it makes like that pretty thing with the sun rays that come through the clouds. Say thank you for that, you know, because that's like something that somebody didn't wake up to see today. So say thank you for that. But then at the end of your day, try this. At the end of your day, before, you know, even getting ready for bed, like say like 6:30 in the evening, when the day is kind of slowing down, but the evening hasn't started yet, say thank you 7 times in a row. And you will start laughing. Like it's the funniest feeling, like around thank you number 5 or 6, joy bubbles up. It bubbles up. And like by the time I say the 7th thank you, I'm like giggling. It's funny. So I've been doing that. I say thank you 7 times a day in a row. And then I say thank you for random things that the universe has created that no one else could have created. And just like with my kid, if you notice that somebody is appreciating something that you've done or you've given or you made, you get more of it because you get what you focus on. You get more of what you focus on. All right. So it is 8:09 and I am not that late for work this time. So I'm excited about that. And I will talk to you all later. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for listening. Thank you for trying these things out with me. Please let me know how it works if you do it. If you say thank you 7 times and you start laughing, send me a comment so that I know that like it's not just me and I'm not insane. Have a great day.